You are paying for torture at Chula. Hello and welcome back to another Router Gods video. My name's Humphrey. We are recapping days 14 and 15 of Chula Intensive Thai class number 5. And yesterday we had our quiz. The quiz was 2 hours as usual, covering the topics of travel along with news accidents. So cars overturning, fish obstructing the road and scattering. And what was nice about this quiz is, you complete the quiz and then you have the last hour or approximately 45 minutes where the teacher reviews, goes through the whole quiz and basically says, okay, this is the right answers. And you're sitting there going, okay, I should have answered that or I should have answered that. Or on the other hand, on one of the sections, I was like, dang, I got everything in that section right. I kicked ass on that section. So I felt much better because the amount of homework I've been doing, the amount of time I've been spending in the flashcards and just brute force writing out each vocabulary word dozens and hundreds of times, that really, really helped. So my score on quiz number 1 was 46%, definitely a fail, right? My score for quiz 2, and here's what's cool about when they grade the quizzes, I got the grade back within 10 minutes. So we get out of class at 4 p.m. and I think at 4:05 p.m. or something like that, within 30 minutes for sure, I got my score back inside of Google Classroom. Still not great, but it was 62%. So from 46% to 62%, definite improvement. I mean, it's a D, it's a pass. It's one thing to miss a question because it's a word you should have known. It was a vocabulary word that it's in your list of words that you're supposed to study. You've seen it before and you didn't practice enough and so you didn't remember it, right? That's a problem where you can fix by putting more effort into the homework and studying. The other way of getting a question wrong is you've never seen this word before. And it's just one of those, like, you're lucky if you saw the word before. Maybe you've been in Thailand for 20 years, you've seen this word, you've practiced enough outside. And when you miss that type of question, I don't think you should feel as bad as when you miss it the first way where you should have studied it. That's just my feeling. So I think those questions that I miss just because I didn't know the vocabulary, that will self-correct over the next couple quizzes. That will self-correct over time because the longer I stay here, the longer I study, I'll just be exposed to more words and I'll just slowly increase my repertoire of vocabulary. So I don't feel too bad about that. But it was because I studied a hell of a lot more this past week, these past 2 lessons, that the quiz score went up. And so yeah, from 46% to 62%, and cross our fingers, the next one should be 70 or 80%, and eventually, hopefully we'll get a quiz score in the 90s. Maybe, we'll see. Also, in the first quiz, I didn't finish. So in the last minute, I was rushing to basically guess the true and false, just like fill in whatever, hope I get a point. You are not penalized for guessing. So you might as well just guess, like just put a whatever in there, and especially on the true false because it's just check mark and an X. But in this quiz, I actually finished on time. I finished a couple minutes early, and then I was basically spending the rest of the time verifying the answers. So that's definitely an improvement. Now, what I noticed was a really, really big improvement this time was one of the reading sections was about accidents. Basically, a pickup truck overturned, it spilled a bunch of fish, and then the villagers helped pick up the fish, and it's talking about injuries and all that. And when I read the paragraph, I was like, dang, like I know I really didn't have any problems reading this paragraph. And I answered all the questions, and I was going through the questions like, I had the feeling that I had reached a not a breaking point, but what do you call it? A crossroads, if you want to say it that way, an inflection point. I hate that word. I had reached a crossroads where all the reading up until this point was kind of, I kind of know what's happening, but I'm 50-50 on it. This one where I read it and I finished, I was like, you're in my house now. Like, because I had concentrated so much on that particular set of words, the accident words, I had done so much vocabulary, so many flashcards on the accidents that when I read the paragraph, I was like, I'm good. Like, I got this. Like, I got this one. And the next 5 questions, 100%. Today, we started section 5, Botiha, which is talking about mosquitoes, larvae, stagnant water, vector control, along with medical terms. So we have 70-something vocabulary words: cancer, liver, enlarged liver, blood, pulse, just feces, to urinate, to defecate. Basically, I was like, are we going to become doctors? Like, this vocabulary is doctors. Shock is easy, shock. But all these words about medical terms and symptoms and how to solve the symptoms, yeah, it's basically like going into medical school. So, which is nice because I used to be an EMT. It was one of my first jobs. So I went from security guard to police explorer, and then I put myself through police academy. And at the same time of doing police academy, I went through EMT school. So I went through a nighttime police academy, and I went through a daytime EMT school. It was hell. It was like one of those summer school compressed things. So I did EMT school, I think it was in 2 months, compressed. It was one of those crazy like 8 to 4, 8 to 5 type things. And then I had to get to the police academy by 6 p.m. So in this chapter, we're talking medical terms and wounds and symptoms and all that stuff. And I'm like, oh, I'm home. You're in my house now. This is, there's a concert, get-together, festival behind me. In our quiz yesterday, we had 2 listening exercises. You are given 1 minute to read the 5 to 6 questions. And so you kind of get a gist of what they're asking. And then after you read those questions, they put on the audio. So they'll play the audio and it goes full high speed. You get one chance. You get one chance to listen to this. In the first quiz, I didn't even finish reviewing the questions before they turned on the audio. In this one I did, so I'm getting faster. That's important. And also I learned to take notes on what they're asking. Okay, they're gonna ask about the color of the car. They're gonna ask about what was the reason for this accident. And I found it interesting because in one of these accidents, they're talking about it's a pickup truck exiting a hospital, going into an intersection. And it's an interview of a police officer talking to the driver. And basically they're talking about, okay, my car was going this way, there was a motorcycle going this way, there was a pickup truck going the other way, a trailer going the other way. And it talked about the motorcycle driver hit me on this side, knocked unconscious. The pickup truck driver smelled of alcohol, was going the other way, who had the red light, who had the green light. And it's one of these, I'm like, okay, I used to be a CHP explorer, so this type of questioning was like, okay. But you can imagine that if you're going full speed, it's a conversation that getting the details right in this conversation is tough, even in your native language. If they were speaking English and you're interviewing a witness, they're saying, okay, the pickup truck was going against me, and there was a motorcycle driver, and he was drunk, and I had the green light, but the other guy had a red light, and he might have been on his cell phone, and yeah, who was in the number 1 lane versus number 2 lane. It gets all like weird, even in your native language. But you're doing this in Thai. You're doing this in freaking Thai, which means I have to take the Thai in, I have to flip it to English, I have to make a mental picture of the situation, then flip it back into Thai to answer the question. So I'm round tripping this into another, from a foreign language into my native language, then the trip back into Thai. So it's like you have to hold it into your short-term memory while translating. And that's what makes this really, really tough. I could never have imagined doing this, at least even getting 50% of the questions right last year. So last year, when I was going through the Duke classes, they'd play the audio and you're just like, what the hell is going on? Like, okay, it's something about an accident, that's it. There's a car and a motorcycle, that's it. But to understand which directions and going to and from and who's at fault, and yeah, completely nuts. So yeah, we're halfway done with this and I like it. It's tough. Another thing, I've been talked to privately by the teachers. Why? Yeah. Basically, so I think they talk amongst each other. Humphrey's weak point is writing. And so I've been instructed, I've been given additional homework. Buy a notepad, buy a notebook, and write, and show us your writing. There are different ways of showing that you care. Some instructors are stern, other instructors are more caring, or they show that they're more caring, but they all care here at Chula. And their version or their method of caring is assign more homework, practice more, tamganman. It's okay. That's what I paid for. That's why I came here, is to get abused and basically waterboarded. You are paying for torture at Chula. That's what you're here for. All right. If you have any questions or comments, put them in the section below. But maybe I have PTSD, maybe I have Stockholm Syndrome, but yeah, this is cool, this is fun, I'm good. All right, take care, stay safe, talk to you later, bye.